Thanks, Tommy. Coach, we'd like to introduce Gary Pinkel, head coach at Missouri. Coach, your opening thoughts.
Well, first of all, we're very excited to be here and a part of the 2014 AT&T Cotton Bowl, and just a great bowl, a great city. Obviously, this facility at AT&T Stadium is remarkable. Probably can't do it justice in description, but we're excited about being here, and our fans certainly are too. We've had a good week thus far. We're doing. One of our goals is to, certainly have a good time when we're not focusing on the things we need to focus on, and getting focused on our practices and our team meetings, and then when we get up closer to the game. So I think for the most part it's gone well, and we're excited about being here.
Okay, thank you, Coach. We've got two microphone ladies. If you'd put your hand up, we'll get a microphone. Would you please state your name and your affiliation when you ask your question? That'll be real helpful. We got a question on the aisle right here.
Hey, Coach. I'm Ben Baby from the Denton Record Chronicle. We covered James in high school, and he's been key for y'all throughout his career. Talk about his career for a little bit, and how big has he been for y'all over the course of the last few years?
Well, James, came in and played as a true freshman. He's a player that he really developing his sophomore year, his first starting year. He had an excellent year that year. He was MVP in our bowl game against North Carolina. Came back expecting his junior year to be typical to our other quarterbacks. Our last three quarterbacks are playing in the NFL. And then he had more injuries, and it's all documented. He had more injuries in that year than in 23 years combined. I've been a head football coach, and battled as well as he could. Didn't even play half the season, and then came back this year. And off of that, a very difficult year. And until he got another injury, his first 6 games. He was playing as good as any quarterback in the country, and he was leading this team and doing a great job. We have a freshman that came in for a few games and certainly helped our team, and then James is back to playing at the high level he played at before. So he's a great kid. He's a great determination. I think he's a great player, and he's turned into a really outstanding leader for our football team.
How kind of impressed were you with this
Wait. Let's get your microphone to you. Hold on just a second.
All right. Kind of how impressed were you with the perseverance? You said you saw him go through so much, and seeing him come back this year and play as well as he has late. How impressed were you with what he's done?
I wasn't surprised, but I think we all go when we face adversity. Nobody likes it, but we all go through it. And when you go through it with the right attitude, you can learn so much and help yourself. And I think that's what he did. I think he's a little bit mentally tougher. He's a little bit more resilient. I think he's more determined than he's ever been. And he's just battled through them, and I have just great respect for him, and I think certainly his teammates do because of all that he's done.
Coach, Abby Eden with Fox 4 News out of Kansas City. You have a really strong group of seniors this year. Tell me how much that has mattered to the team as a whole. Well,
I think our senior leadership is always real important. It's something that we do. It's the seniors team, really. That's how we handle it. I think coming off a very difficult year a year ago, the determination that they expressed and have communicated right when we got back in January to our football team was get back to our winning ways and winning at a high level. And through their leadership, I think it's been outstanding, and it's been so important. Part of the success that we've had this year, and certainly visual aids for all our younger players, and certainly the juniors that will be seniors next year. They made these seniors made their mark in Mizzou football, and certainly like to finish this thing the right way.
We got a question on the left towards the rear.
Coach Austin Kim, KMIZ in Columbia, Missouri. What has made your program so successful in Texas in terms of recruiting and getting a lot of your star players from this state?
Well, we have 32 players on our roster right now from the state of Texas. Obviously, Missouri is our number one state. Chose to place an emphasis here outside the state of Missouri to pick a high-populated area that plays great high school football. So we chose to really put a lot of coaches down here and recruit at a high level. In Texas, there a lot of people will put people in Florida, put people in California, and that we just felt that was the right thing to do. And through, I think the best leadership that you get. I think the best communication that you get about your program is when your players that play for you go back in the locker rooms and talk to their coaches and the players that they used to play with in high school and say Mizzou's a great place. And it took a while to get that going, but after a while, we've recruited some great players out of the state of Texas, and a bunch are playing in the NFL right now. Most all of them have their degrees, which we're very, very, very proud of also. But we have great relationships with these coaches down here, and I think we have great relationships because they know we do the right things for kids. Our APR ranking was the best in the SEC, in the top 10% in the nation. And certainly, we've had 4, double-digit wins seasons in the last 7 years. So I think it was appealing to these kids, and it's been real important to us.
Got a question on the front, middle.
Hi, I'm here with KOME TV. What have you seen out of Oklahoma State's ability to force turnovers?
Well, I thought we were pretty good in turnovers until I saw the national stats, and they're a few slots ahead of us. We're both top 10 in the nation; they're top 5. I think they've got it going. I mean, I think what happens is when you're really good at turnovers, obviously you're physical. Your intention is to certainly go for the ball. You're not just trying to tackle a player, trying to get through the ball and rip the ball out. So I think they're very fundamentally very sound. I also think, too, once you get momentum, in all the years I've been doing this, and instead of I hope we get turnovers this week, you kind of expect them. And I think when those things happen, I think it's important. The other side of that is your offense holding on to the football, And Chelf, the quarterback, is a great player, and he does a good job. Running backs holding on to the ball. So they're top 5 in the nation turnover margin. We're pretty good at it, too, but very, very impressed with that. And they're also well coached, and I think, you look at Mike for that.
Front left-hand side.
Coach Randy Renner with KXY Radio in Oklahoma City. You mentioned Clint Shell just then, and he's one of those guys who has kind of bounced back and forth a little bit, went from third-team quarterback to starting quarterback, back to the bench, back to the starter. What's impressed you about Clint Shell?
Well, I think what happens is I mentioned that before, you really grow from that. You kind of find out what you're made of a little bit. And what you see is you see a guy that's obviously a great competitor. He's very resilient. He's been through the adversities that playing quarterback at this level, this BCS level that we're in, that you go through, and I think he's just enhanced his game. He's a really good player. He throws the ball well. He extends plays. He can do damage with his feet also. He's got good receivers, make great plays, and so he's got a lot of things in place. But he is very well coached, and he's playing at a very, very high level. I'm very impressed.
Front left-hand side.
John Klein, Tulsa World. Coach, I was going to ask you the difference between the SEC and Big 12. You've had a couple of years now. Was it a big adjustment period? And how's the SEC week-to-week grind different than it was in the Big 12?
Well, I've obviously been asked that question a lot. We didn't change anything, how we recruit or how we train our athletes or anything, except we try to keep our players healthy, because of the grind that you go in. The statement that I've always said is that the Big 12 has always had some real good football teams, that the SEC just has more of them, and that's the difference. And so that's a very honest evaluation of 2 really good leagues. The SEC is the grind, in the venues that you play, the grind week in, week out. Most people in this league, the way they really schedule a lot of their non-conference games to break up. If you look at their philosophies, to break up the SEC schedule, and they do it for a reason. And so, Big 12, got great respect for them. Always have, always will, and certainly we're very, very proud to be a member of the SEC.
Further questions for Coach? We got a question on the left-hand side about halfway back.
Coach, I know you addressed this in your opening remarks, but how is this team in terms of having fun and enjoying this Cotton Bowl week, while also, like you said, maintain focus, especially when you kind of lead up toward game day on Friday?
Well, the bowl game in itself, I think is because of all the things that are going on, and you want them to have a good time. It's nothing. There's nothing normal about a game week of preparation. But it's nothing normal for every team that's out there. So every team is going through the same things. The teams that can practice the best, get focused to practice your best, as the week goes on, and that they can get themselves focused to play their best football, game day is the one that's going to have the edge. And obviously, if two teams do it well, then the things that will follow along with that. But it's all about being able to focus. And you know, we've been a very good team. It doesn't mean you're going to win all your games. We've been a very good focused football team, but this is different, and we certainly address that with the coaching staff, myself, the leadership of our team, the position leaders, and you know, that's as the days, you know, this is really a Tuesday for us in terms of, you know, our preparation. As the days mount, the focus has got to increase, and hopefully we can get that done.
More for the coach.
Back there.
We got a question all the way in the rear left-hand side.
Chris Evans, Triple Play Sports Radio. Coach, can you talk about Cantrell Brothers, what you saw him out of high school and the season he's had for you this year?
Cantrell, a sophomore, you know, playing as a sophomore, playing very, very well starting. We saw an athlete, a really very athletic player, you know, really good athlete. Thought he was a little undersized in high school, but now, you know, he doesn't have that problem anymore. So he's about 235, and you know, Sean Witherspoon starts for the Falcons, his first-round draft pick from Texas. He was a all Big 12 player for us there, and I think he's got similar abilities. I think you know he's only a sophomore. We'll see where he goes, where he takes his. You know, it's hard to be a great player, but he certainly has the tools to be really good. And but he's had a really good year, and he's a young player that we have high expectations of the future for.
Got a question on the left front, and then we'll go to the back.
Randy Renner from KXY Radio in Oklahoma City again. Coach, the last time you played Oklahoma State, just 2011, some of the same players. In fact, I think James Franklin played in that game against the Cowboys. When you've looked at film of them the last couple of weeks, what has stood out to you about maybe how Oklahoma State is different now in the way maybe their defense is or their offense is from when you played them last back in 2011?
Well, I think schemes, I think all those things change a little bit. I mean, offensively, you do some different things because you're personnel. Defensively, you do. But, I think what you do with Coach Gundy and the program he has, you just see the program as he's continued to build his program. You know, they have, regardless of the plays that you do on offense and defense, it's, are you fundamental? Are you well coached? Are you disciplined? Do you not beat yourself? We talk about turnovers and penalties, things like that. Great kicking game. Well, he's developed his program and continues to develop it, and I see just a very, very well coached team that has a lot of talent, and that's why they're 10-2, and that's why they're here.
Question on the rear right side.
Gary, it's David Ubben with Fox Sports. Gary, when you look at that matchup between Justin Gilbert, their corner, and your receivers, what do you kind of make of that, and what do you make of Gilbert?
Well, I think he's a great player, obviously, and he's a guy that he covers so well, and he's the great corners, the guys that recover and make plays. They're guys that they get beat, but the guys recover and get the ball out, and certainly. He's a big part of their secondary. So we're going to have our challenges with him. We're certainly aware of where he is located each and every play, and we'll just have to game plan the best we can and hopefully compete to play our best.
Anything further for Coach? Coach,
back in the
we got
middle.
one all the way in the back. Thank you. Missed that one.
Nathan Thompson, Fox 23 in Tulsa. Coach, you're in a league that's traditionally known for its quality defenses. Can you just talk a little bit about how this OSU defense stacks up to some of the good ones you've seen this season?
Well, I think they're one of the best we'll play this year. Like I said before, I think they're talented. They're good up front, and that's where it starts. If you're good up front, I think you got a chance to be really good on defense or offense. But certainly, talking about their defense. Their middle linebackers are a heck of a player, and they pursue. They don't give up a lot of big plays, and it's going to be a great challenge for us. You don't get to this game, and you're not 10-2 unless you're playing great defense, and they're playing great defense.
Anything else? All right, Coach, we'll see you Thursday morning at the coaches' news conference.
Okay, thank you all for being here. Appreciate it.